Wills, estate planning, all the things that go with that. Nobody really likes to address that because nobody really likes to think about their demise or dying. But today we're talking about something that sounds simple, but it gets complicated pretty quickly, and that is handwritten wills. They're also called holographic wills. If you've ever wondered, can I just write out my wishes down on the back of a napkin or on a legal pad and call it a day and call it my will? Well, you're not alone. Lots of people wonder that. But before you grab your pen and legal pad, let's break down what you need to know, especially if you want to spare your loved ones, your family, headaches and heartaches and legal battles down the road. A holographic will is a will, but it's a handwritten one. It is signed by you, the person making the will, of course. You don't need a witness, or in most cases, you don't bother with a witness. There's no notary. It's just your words on a piece of paper. Sounds easy, right? Here's the catch. Proving a handwritten will is valid in court, well, that's much trickier than with a formal witnessed will. That's because with a formal will, you usually have two witnesses who can say, yes, I saw them sign this, and they knew what they were doing at the time. With a handwritten will, no witnesses. That means if your wishes are ever challenged, the court has to figure out if it's really your handwriting, if you were of sound mind, and if you truly meant for this to be your final will. All right, remember this case, Aretha Franklin? After she passed away, her family found multiple handwritten wills scattered about her home. That led to a long, expensive legal battle over which will was valid and who should get what. It's not exactly the legacy anyone wants to leave behind. So, here's where it gets even trickier. Only about half the states in the United States even recognized handwritten wills at all, and some only under special circumstances, like if you're in the military or facing an emergency. States like Texas and California allow them, but Florida and New York, except for military members, do not. And even in states where they're allowed, the rules can be pretty strict. The court might require proof that it's your handwriting or that you really intended this to be your will, not just a set of notes or some scribbling you were doing right before bed or just a draft. All right, we know they're called holographic wills, but the specific states which recognize them, well, what rules do they apply there, and how online will-making options stack up if you're looking to keep your estate plan simple, but you don't want to hire an attorney? So Maryland and New York, well, they only accept holographic wills for active duty military or sailors at sea, and only for a limited time after discharge. States like Alabama, Connecticut, Delaware, Iowa, Minnesota, New Mexico, Rhode Island, South Carolina, and Washington recognize holographic wills as foreign wills, meaning if you wrote it in a state that allows them and then moved to those states, well, it might still be valid. States that don't accept holographic wills at all include Florida, Georgia, Illinois, Kansas, Massachusetts, Missouri, New Hampshire, Ohio, Oregon, Rhode Island, Vermont, and a few others. So here's the bottom line. The rules are all over the map. If you live in a state that doesn't allow handwritten wills, even if signed, well, they could be thrown out in probate. So the will must be in your handwriting if you are going to try to use one. You can't type it in or use fill in the blank forms. It's got to be signed and dated by you. It should clearly state your intentions for your property and name your beneficiaries. And of course, you must be of sound mind when writing it. And some states require witnesses or proof from handwriting experts during probate. Seems like a lot of confusion, right? Yeah, you might be wondering, why not just use an online will-making service like we see all those commercials on TV? Well, that is an option, and here's how they work. They'll guide you through a series of questions, then generate a will that you print and sign. But you still need witnesses. Even with an online will, most states require you to sign it in front of two witnesses who are not beneficiaries, and that will make it valid. So here's the good side, or the good things, or the upside of the online approach. It's more likely to meet your state's legal requirements than scribbling a handwritten will. It helps you cover important details like naming an executor, alternate beneficiaries, and guardians for minor children. And it's easy to update as your life changes. The downside, the cons, it's not personalized legal advice. Complex estates or blended families should still see an attorney. And this video is not legal advice either. For one, I'm not an attorney, and this is strictly for educational and informational purposes, to remind you and drive you to dig deeper and get your estate plan taken care of, not for actual advice, legal advice. If you don't follow the signing and witnessing instructions exactly, your will could still be invalid. So always check your state's requirements before using any online will-making tool. And if you have any doubts, talk to a qualified estate attorney. Yeah, I think this is probably the best way to go. So check your state's rules to see if they recognize the holographic, the handwritten wills. Use the online tools carefully. Follow the instructions for signing and witnessing to the letter. You don't want to skip any steps there. And if you have any doubts, just go pro for anything beyond a simple estate. And if you want true peace of mind, it's probably best to work with an estate attorney and your financial planner to get it right. I think you'll probably save money in the long run doing it that way. So handwritten, yeah, it might seem easy, but the legal landscape is a minefield. Online, well, that's a step up, but only if you follow the rules. For most people, a formal witnessed will is the best way to make sure your wishes are honored and your family is spared. Not only heartache, but legal headaches. How did you handle your will? You do have your estate plan together, right? Online, a lawyer, or a handwritten will? Let me know in the comments below. And in the meantime, I will see you in the next episode.